Hey folks, today's video is topical rather than a guitar model, and again it deals with the subject of eBay, which I've been buying less and less from over the last few months. I used to buy quite a lot through eBay and develop relationships. I found other areas or other methods of buying to make more sense these days for various reasons that I've gone over in other videos. One thing I wanted to talk about today was a new phenomenon on eBay which I consider to be a bit of a scam, which is the open box sales. Now, some time ago, I'm not even sure when, within the last year maybe, eBay has made it possible for you to list your items, not new or used or needing work, but as quote open box. Now, in the early days I bought quite a few open box auctions because one, they're cheap, two, usually the issues that I found were fixable, and being a luthier I can afford to take risks. I mean, I can fix. Very rarely do I get a guitar I have to write off, and I can't remember the last one. So unlike a lot of people, I can take risks. So it made sense for me to dabble when the price was right. However, I've noticed in the last few months, people selling, a lot of sellers selling stuff, quote, open box, where the prices are almost as much as, or in some cases, quite a few cases, more than what they cost new. Which is bizarre. I was alerted to this recently when I was watching a Zouwei guitar. I did a review on a Zouwei guitar recently. I've been kind of interested in that brand, and I was watching an auction, and it was a make an offer auction for, I don't know, let's say $150 for a guitar that costs, I think, around $179 new. So they had a make an offer function, and I think I put an offer in for like $125 or something like that, which I considered to be fair, considering it was an open box offer. Now, what is open box? Well, open box items, and I can say this from a lot of experience, are items that have been sold and returned for many reasons, or being refused, or perhaps returned for shipping, damage, or blems, or setup problems, or just some item with the guitar that the seller thinks they can just sell again. And a lot of times they don't even open the box after the return. They just market it as an open box sale and ship it right back out. So it really is a bit of a gamble. Now, I've had open box buys that have been perfectly fine guitars. The boxes were beat up. Maybe there's a nick or a ding here and there, but I've had some with relatively no issues, a few issues, but I've also had some that have serious setup issues, warp necks, back bowed, forward bowed, tuner breakage, just normal setup stuff that I can fix. And then I've had others that have a little bit more serious of a problem that I've actually returned because, if you buy something as open box guitar, you're not necessarily buying a damaged guitar. There is a category for people to list on eBay if it's damaged and needing work or needing to be fixed. So if you get something and the problem is more than just ding or a blem or some sort of setup issue, if it's like a crushed guitar top or something like that, you have every right to return it because those people didn't list it. I mean, it's no longer functional. So my theory is anything being sold with in the open box category should never be more than 2/3 of the new price, ever. And recently, after being alerted to this issue, by the way, the seller turned down my offer, and I wrote to him and said, "This is an open box. My experiences that there are usually issues, dings, finish flaws, setup issues, things like that. So considering this guitar is very close to the new price, and you've listed it as make an offer, why are you declining people's offers even though they're fairly close and not counter offering? It doesn't make sense. And then he wrote back to me and said, this is the lowest I'm willing to sell it for, which was $5. And I'm thinking, why list something with a make an offer function if you're only willing to come down $5? That doesn't really make sense. And he was denying offers anything lower than $5 for a guitar that he had listed open box, and the new version of the guitar is only $20 more. So I started looking into this, and I did a search recently, and I found all kinds of examples of people selling instruments in the open box category, or with the open box in the title, to attract buyers. People think, oh, bargain, and so they click on that. And if you don't research your prices, if you don't match up what they're asking against a new price on Amazon or one of the other Zounds or one of the other Samash or one of the other new box stores, they can trick you into overpaying for something. And it's one thing to pay extra, more than a new price, if they're offering extra. For instance, if the new one on Amazon doesn't include a gig bag, and they're doing substantial upgrade or setup or adding a bag or a case, I think it's fine to charge a little bit more than Amazon's price. But when you're charging that and not offering anything above and beyond what a new one would entail, I don't know, I think that's a bit dicey. But anyway, in my last search that I just did, I saw a Yamaha FG800 acoustics open box going for $219, $229. They're $199, new, free shipping on Amazon and most of the other sites as well, Sweetwater and places like that. Why would you pay $30 more for an open box version of a guitar that you can get new? With all the return options, when you buy a new guitar, it's so easy to return it on Amazon and most of these other sites. Whereas a lot of these open box sales, they kind of discourage returns, even though technically you can't really block returns on eBay. They sort of discourage them. So I just think this is kind of a weird phenomenon and a bit of a scam in my view. Another thing that I saw was somebody selling a lot of Ibanez guitars, electrics, like the GAX series. Ibanez, they're $149 new, free shipping, and I saw people trying to sell them for $199 open box. That's $50 more for an open box version of the guitar than new. Now, chances are it comes and it's like new, but chances are it also comes and it has issues, hence why it's being returned. Also the micro Ibanez guitars that I think are $149, somebody was selling them for $189 or something like that. If something goes $149 new and you're selling an open box version, your price should never exceed, say, $119 or $129 tops, in my view. And if I were certainly selling something open box, first thing I would do is look at what it sells for new and then take a percentage off for the risk. That somebody's buying, a guitar that has issues. Now I don't run into that because I fix everything and go through it before I sell it. But if I were just a, sort of a warehouse seller, I certainly would check prices before listing stuff, particularly open box auctions. And there are a myriad of them on there now. I saw hundreds and hundreds of open box items and then check prices, and some of them weren't gouging, they weren't charging more, but they were right around the new price, which is I don't know why anybody would do that. I don't know why anybody would buy an open box item for the same price as a new item, particularly if they are just a player and they're not able to fix the issue once it arrives. Now, you know, you could buy a new guitar and have it show up with problems. A lot of the guitars that come on Amazon and other vendors, they don't do any setup, and you know, a lot of them show up, and I feel the fret ends, and I look at the action, and I think 9 out of 10 people would return this, and this is a new guitar. You know, they're lucky I bought it, because I'm going to fix it and not return it. But so that certainly can happen with new guitars, but with an open box guitar, the chances of it having an issue or some sort of blemish on the guitar are a lot higher. And sure enough, some of the open box guitars that I've bought, you know, occasionally they have little finish blemishes or fissures in the varnish. I've had them with cracks around the end blocks or the strap buttons. I've had them with you know, fretboard dings or binding peeling off, chips out of the headstock. You know, even with pretty bad bashes and dings in the finish, because you know, it got bashed around in a box, it got returned, and then it was just sold open box. And I'm telling you, you can tell a lot of these sellers don't reopen the box after they've got the return back, and then they relist it under open box. That's the whole point of this. It saves them from checking something. They can just resell it and recoup some of their money right away. And by listing it open box, it tells the buyer, you know, this is not new, it's not used, it's not new, it's somewhere in between. You know, you're taking a bit of a risk. But then the pricing on some of this other stuff, and I thought, is this just the instrument world? So I checked some other auctions, like computer parts and you know, even household items, and I found the same thing. A lot of people were charging the same or more for open box auctions as they were for new items. So just a word of warning, there's a lot of people doing it now. I see literally hundreds of these auctions whenever I do a eBay search. Just be careful, because if you buy anything with the open box title, or if it's the category open box, chances are you're going to get something that has been returned for some reason or another, and you may get an absolutely spanking new guitar in great shape, or you may get something with substantial issues. Let me know if you've come across this. It just seems to be something that's caught my attention recently. I thought to bring it up. All right, folks, see you on the next one.